Welcome everybody, Brother Goodwin here and Dr. Charles Hiltemiddle. Doc, let's say a word about this Brother Grady's book here. We did over 5 cases of this book. What must I do to be saved? And I got some more orders. I said, oh no, I'm out of books. I had to order another case. And so here they are. We want to offer them to you, the viewer. I think this is an important book in the last days because if we're at the end of this thing, we got to get our loved ones saved, and friends and neighbors.
I agree, and especially if you've got someone that's, for whatever reason, is really concerned about eternity.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and this is a book for lost people, but not just anybody. This is a book for somebody you think there's a good chance that they're interested, they'll read it,
right.
Someone you're burdened about. Obviously, you can't get 5 cases of these and give them out on the street, I mean, unless you're a millionaire, but the deal is you can buy one if you want, and that's fine. That's free shipping. But the 5-book order is a really good deal, and you'll want to give these to people.
That's just about at cost.
Yeah, yeah, and of course shipping's expensive here, but we wanted to let you know about that. It's right there on the website, Prophecy Spotlight. You'll see them. So Doc, I wanted to talk about my new book that's just recently out. It's just been out for maybe a week or so, by the time this airs anyway. Because as of the recording of this, these are printing right now at the shop in Florida. But by the time this airs, I'll have the books at the house and ready to ship them. And so the pre-order as of right now is still up. By the time this airs, I think the pre-order will be gone, but you'll be able to buy the book on the website. The Prophecy Puzzle, putting the pieces together. And Doc, this thing really evolved as I remember the first time I told you about it was sitting right here, and you got kind of excited when I was explaining it to you. And this thing really evolved as I went, and I guess that usually happens when you write a book.
Yeah.
You get new ways to say stuff, and so I talk about prophecy as like a puzzle, and there are a lot of pieces, and you got to fit them pieces together. If you don't have all the pieces, it's never going to come out right. And as you go, of course, the first step is to rightly divide the straight edges from the others, and then but you're looking for what I call in the book the 4 corners of prophecy. And you get those 4 corner pieces and you put them out, and I have pictures in the book. I think they can see that. See the 4 corners there on that? And don't do what these people are doing. You probably can't see that far away, but that's 2 people trying to put a puzzle together and it doesn't fit. Those pieces don't go together. So there's color pictures in the book. And
we've got a lot of folks trying to force pieces together that's not in the Bible.
Yeah, I mean they'll take a hammer and try to beat it in there just because I know it fits, because I know this is right.
Well, they even get them a new Bible in order to try to make it fit.
And of course, phase 1 is the 4 corners, and those 4 corners are the most important part of the puzzle. Just like a house, those 4 corner posts hold the house up, the foundation, and everything is set in a square and all that by those. Of course, the first piece, the first corner, is actually the most important. And of course, that's the King James Bible. But I won't go through all that. We've shared some of that on here already. I want to share the 3rd prophecy corner. There are 4 of them, and the King James Bible is one of them. Very important, the most important part. If you don't have the right puzzle box, how are you going to know what goes where? I mean, what if your puzzle box is missing the fig tree? That's pretty important. Something's missing. If you got a Bible and something's missing in your Bible, you got a problem.
That's right.
And by the way, there's nothing missing in my Bible, the King James Bible. And I would encourage you to get one. So the 3rd corner is this, and you're going to like this, Doc, because this is down your alley here. The 3rd prophecy, of course, the 2nd corner is how to interpret the Bible.
Right.
It doesn't do any good to have a Bible if you're not reading it properly and rightly dividing and all that. And by rightly dividing, we mean separating Israel from the church and understanding putting the principles where they go, who's being talked to and all that. But the 3rd corner, which is also important, is what I call telling the end from the beginning.
Right.
Telling the end and by that I mean this, and I share this in the book. I believe the whole book of Genesis, but especially the first 12 chapters of Genesis, my goodness, there's so much doctrine
Oh, yes.
and understanding in them first 12 chapters. And if you don't understand those preliminary things that are mentioned at the beginning of the Bible, you will miss things later on in the Bible or get twisted on some things.
Well, that's why the liberal crowd has always contested the first 11 chapters, call them allegories and whatnot.
Yeah, no such thing as Adam and Eve. That's just a type.
Yeah.
And so I list here 9 of them. There's more than that in the first 12 chapters, but I list 9 important topics that are very important to understand because they affect things that are going on right now in the world and in Prophecy Ministries. And the first, of course, is in the very first verse of the Bible, the very first 2 verses.
Right.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth earth was without void, without form and void and all that. The gap theory. And by the way, that's what it is, a theory.
And it's exactly a theory, even though a very reputable men that I would even have great respect for have made some pretty bold statements in opposition to it. I think if they were really as informed as they should have been, they would not have gone that route.
And one of the problems, of course, which we talk about a lot, is something you learned when you were young or you were taught.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
Hard to shake that stuff.
Yes, it is. And many people cut their teeth in ministry on a particular Bible that had footnotes that literally taught that.
C.I. Scofield teaches, I believe, teaches it.
That's exactly right.
And so we want everyone to know, you got to make up your mind, but here at Prophecy in the Spotlight, we do not believe that there's a gap of time.
There's no gaps with God. And in verse number 1, it's the word heaven and not heavens, because God is already dwelling in the heavens.
Yep.
He's created an earth with its heaven for a purpose of making man in his image.
Yeah.
That's what verse 1 is all about.
Okay. And all right, so I put here the gap theory is refuted, and I go through several pages here where I explain
a lot of
that.
A lot of the problems we're dealing with today, as you already are pointing out in this, that we're dealing with today is because people are trying to put things into a gap that didn't exist, and things that don't exist today.
The Genesis 6, which we'll get to in a minute, the fallen angel, the Nephilim, all that stuff, the return of the Nephilim, all is hinged upon a gap theory where there were these things millions of years ago.
They go over into Peter's writing and try to force it into something that it really is not teaching at all to verify or to prove their theory.
Okay. So, in other words, if you miss this pillar and this corner, and you move on and you go through the Bible and you get into prophecy without getting a solid foundation with these corners,
exactly right,
then you're going to have trouble and you're going to get drawn away with stuff. And the second thing that's right here is in the first 2 chapters of Genesis as well, and that's the 7,000-year earth is typified. So right away in the first chapters of the Bible, we discover how long we're going to be on this earth.
This particular earth, God already had it planned exactly how long it was going to be in what we call the realm of time.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I got some things here that I talk about to back that up. I've got the Transfiguration story. I got 2 Peter chapter 3, I think in verse 8, a day's with 1,000 years, 1,000 years a day.
Yeah.
The Transfiguration's a tremendous passage to back this up. After 6 days, he takes Peter, James, and John up. Moses and Elijah come down. There's your 2 witnesses. And, the time's there. I got that here. The Transfiguration points to a 6,000-year earth and then the kingdom age.
Right.
Moses and Elijah I mentioned here in chapter 17 of Matthew. Over here, no hint, not even a hint of a gap theory. In all these figures and types of the 6,000-year world, no hint. There is no such thing, no pre-Adamic world taught in the Scriptures.
I don't think God is going to miss out on 1 second of what's time.
Yeah, and I go through the word dominion, the importance of the word dominion that was given to Adam, giant sabbatical cycles, and let's see. chapter 1 again, here's the third important thing that we learn at the beginning of all things is Adam is given dominion. And I just quoted some of that. And how important that is to things later on. Revelation 5, the seventh seal book. That's God taking back the dominion of the planet, coming back with the title deed.
Yeah, because in chapter 3, the dominion's going to be shifted from Adam made in the image of God to Satan, and Jesus is going to take it back again.
Yeah. The fourth one here is also in Genesis. Look how important Genesis chapter 1 is.
It really is.
Genesis 1 again, everything bears fruit after his own kind.
Yeah.
And so that precedent is set.
That's right.
It's a principle that cannot be broken.
And science has demonstrated that that's exactly how God made it.
Yep. Chapter 3, we move on a little bit here. Verse 15, we see the famous verse, the seed of Satan, the seed of the woman. Mm-hmm. And of course, I always ask people, does a woman have a seed? And of course, I say, Satan no more has a literal seed than a woman has a seed.
Because that's figurative in its language there.
Yep. Ye are of your father the devil, followers of Satan are his children.
That's why when we're born again, we're adopted into the family of God.
Yep. And you got to be born into the family. I was born into the Goodwin family when I was a cute little bouncing baby boy.
I'm not sure of the cute part.
And my mom said I was cute.
So she's biased.
And now to get into God's family, you got to get born into that one.
That's right. Absolutely.
And you do that by getting saved. So the seed of Satan, and then you move to chapter 6. There's the truth about the sons of God and who they are, and that's a huge distraction today.
It is a very big distraction today.
I wish people would understand that angels, fallen or not fallen, are not flesh and blood. They cannot bear children. They have no seed. They have no blood.
Yes.
Yeah. The truth about the sons of God, and then the flood, chapter 6 and 7. The flood, very important. As it was in the days of Noah. That's an important passage.
Absolutely.
Doesn't mean what these guys are saying when you study the beginning of things. Two more. The Tower of Babel. Globalism is introduced right there. Chapter 11. Chapter 10, I think. 10 and 11.
10 and 11.
And
primarily 11.
And lastly but not leastly, Abraham's going to become the father, not only the Jews, but the Arab race and all that.
Because up to that point, everything has been negative about sin and its mark on humanity. Now we're going to be introduced to what God is going to produce, redemption's plan.
Yep. And let's see, that's about 30 pages where I discuss all 9 of these things. Now, there's more there than just what I picked out, but these are just some highlights and why it's important to get a grasp, not only the book of Genesis, but especially those first 12 chapters.
That's right.
You're wrong on some of those initial things, it's going to mess you up.
It'll mess you up down the road.
All right, get the book. It's on the website, and you can get it. Go to ProtestantScholarly.com. The book is, I think, possibly the most important book that I've written. There are quite a few full color pictures in here. Very expensive. Printing's gone up. Color print has gone up. And shipping's gone up, but it's on the website. I hope you'll get one if you haven't already. And well, that's all the time we have. Thanks for listening in. Thanks for viewing. And share this. Share this on your social media. Share it with your other people. Those of you on the radio, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Until then, keep your eyes on them skies.